I'll never forget the first time I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger in person. This was way back when he was just 21 years old. I mean, I had heard about the guy, but nothing could have prepared me for seeing him up close. He was unreal, like not even human, and Arnold was 21 years old, and he looked like a Greek god. I saw him like a god. I still remember seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was competing in the Mr. Universe competition back in 1967. Arnold was just 20 years old. And he didn't just look good for his age, he looked unreal. Like you're standing there watching him on stage, and it's hard to believe someone that young could look like that. I mean, this guy wasn't even out of his early 20s yet, and he was built like a Greek god. When he walked out, you could tell right away he was on another level. The size of him, the way his muscles just popped, it was insane. You know how some guys are big and muscular? Arnold was on a whole different level. His biceps were like mountain peaks, veins popping out like they had a life of their own. And the size of his chest. It looked like he could bench press a car without breaking a sweat. But what really got me was how perfectly balanced his physique was. Every muscle was sculpted to perfection. He didn't just look strong, he looked perfect, like a statue come to life. It was like I was standing next to a myth. You see pictures of guys like that, but when you're there, staring at someone like Arnold at 21, you realize he was something special, something that doesn't come around often.
I had this need of being somebody. I grew up in this little town in Austria, in Thal. It was a tough life, but so I was determined, I'm gonna get out of there, and no matter what it takes. My parents, really loved me, but they thought I was totally ill, mentally ill. My mother went many times to our house doctor and complained to him. He says, there's something off with our son. You better study him a little bit here, because he comes home for lunch and then he does 250 sit-ups instead of eating lunch. Right. And look at this wall here in his bedroom. I mean, look at all his pictures of naked men hanging
right.
there. And, and all his friends have, pictures of women. Should we be concerned about that also? I mean, there's this guy's 15 years old and there's all these naked men.
And then, when he posed, it was like the whole room just stopped. Everyone was in awe. He had this presence, you couldn't take your eyes off him. And then when they announced he was the winner, becoming the youngest Mr. Universe ever, man, you could feel the energy in the air. It was like everyone knew they were witnessing something historic. Arnold, at just 20 years old, was already that guy.
To me, it's all about hard work. Work your ass off. And because there's no shortcut. And you have to kind of put the work in. And, I talked earlier about the bicep. The more you kind of torture the bicep, the more resistance you give it, and the more pain there is, the more it grows. The same is with us, with the human mind. The human mind can only really grow through resistance.
There's no shortcut, man. It's all about the reps. You just gotta do them and keep practicing. The more you do something, the better you get at it. Work your ass off, because you never want to look back and say you failed just because you didn't put in the work. That's always been my mindset. Whatever you do, just keep grinding. You can't climb the ladder of success with your hands in your pockets. You gotta hustle, work your butt off. It's that simple. No excuses, just the grind. Champions are built one rep at a time. Remember this. If you want it bad enough, you've got to put in the work. There's no magic pill, no easy way around it. You just gotta put in the work, over and over again. I'm telling you, it's all about the effort you put in. No shortcuts, just straight up hard work.
I did all the basic lifts, bent over rowing, the squats, the bench press, the incline press, all of those things that the squat, that were very, very important to build the basics of the body. And you have deltoids, and you have pectoral muscles, and you have a huge chest and lats and the back. Now you go and start chiseling away, because now it's about the perfection. Do you have enough upper lats, lower lats, and rear deltoids, side deltoids, front deltoids? Is there a split between the pectoral muscle and the front deltoid? Is there a split between the trapezius? That is the most important thing, because there's an exercise for each part of your body. All of those kind of things, when you know those exercises and know those machines, that's what makes you then sculpt the perfect body. I was so hungry, so therefore every magazine that I could get a hold of, I bought. And then I had this whole library of magazines at home, old ones, newer ones, and old books on physical culture. And I read all this stuff and studied it carefully. And then I used my body kind of as an experiment, basically, because I would do a certain exercise, 40 reps, 40 times. The nutritional part, because you got to realize that the body needs protein, it needs carbohydrates, it needs fats, but what is the balance? So that is also very important, that you figure out not what is the rule out there. So that's important to know what's the rule, but that's not the only thing that's important. You got to figure out also what is it that is working for you,
Right.
Because what works for you may not work for you.
Yeah.
This was the golden moment. Arnold Schwarzenegger won his 7th and final Mr. Olympia in 1980, held in Sydney, Australia. After this victory, Arnold retired from competitive bodybuilding, marking the end of an era.